as you might have heard, Australia's ABC, or Always Be Cunts, has came out with quite a questionable claim. Apparently 81% of Aussies trust the ABC. Where's that extra doubt? Can't fucking hit it hard enough. But let's jump into what all this controversy, how it all started because of this.
Listeners, he sort of managed to successfully capture that bro market in America.
By the way, they're talking about Joe Rogan here.
And his influence is such that in the wake of the US election, the Democrats have said that one of Kamala Harris's mistakes was that she didn't appear on his program. So I'm just wondering if you had any observations about what's behind the Joe Rogan effect, how you believe he's managed to so successfully capture this huge market. And then for us here in Australia, you know, how would or should the ABC be going about capturing that kind of audience?
Look, I'm not sure that I'm the right person to respond to that question.
Oh, you're definitely not, bro. You're definitely not. For a start, Joe Rogan is UFC, like, judge or what do you call it? What do you call the guy, commentator, maybe? You look like you probably couldn't go, like, 2 seconds in a ring with, like, a UFC fighter. And don't get me wrong, I probably couldn't either, but I'd probably show a shit last longer than you, bro.
I am not a consumer or enthusiast about Mr. Rogan and his...
Yeah, I'm not surprised. You look like if you heard one of his podcasts, you'd probably have a heart attack.
His work.
Shocking.
Yeah, like she says, shocking.
I am not one of the 3 billion, and I'm unlikely to be 3 billion and one anytime soon. I think people like Mr. Rogan prey on people's vulnerabilities. They prey on fear, they prey on anxiety, they prey on all of the elements that contribute to uncertainty in society, and they entrepreneur fantasy outcomes and conspiracy outcomes as being a normal part of social narrative.
Like, for example, if you get the vax, you can't pass it on to anyone? That conspiracy? Or how about the conspiracy that he wasn't actually getting better and he was actually quite sick, and it wasn't the fact that CNN and the MSNBC and the mainstream media had to play around with the hue colouring to make him look more sickly than he really was, because they couldn't have him looking healthy 2 days after getting COVID. Is that the conspiracy you're talking about? How about the Jeffrey Epstein situation? Was that a conspiracy? What about myocarditis and pericarditis, since we're talking about the vaxxers so much? What about the myocarditis and pericarditis? Was that a conspiracy? Or are we allowed to finally admit that, you know, where there's a little bit of smoke, there's probably a little bit of a flame?
I personally find it deeply repulsive.
You probably look like you had, like, dead set. This guy, if I had to post a picture of what a cuck looks like, it'd probably be this guy. I would just draw this. I would just put this photo here. This guy. This is a cuck.
And to think that someone has such remarkable power in the United States is something that I look at in disbelief.
Yeah, because you don't get it. You don't understand it. Because as far as you're concerned, you're the media. This is like what the mainstream media over in the US is trying to claim at the moment. We're the media! No, you're not. No, you're not. Not anymore, you're not. You're the dinosaurs. We're the media, right? Get used to it.
I'm also absolutely in dismay that this can be a source of public entertainment when it's really treating the public as plunder for purposes that are really quite malevolent.
So he's made all these claims, but he hasn't backed anything up. Let's just say that he's true, right? And that he's not full of shit. Once again, press X to doubt. He didn't actually prove his point. He just made a bunch of claims. So maybe you could, like, provide your point. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? You're talking about, like, with the vax that myocarditis and pericarditis is a thing? Is that the theory that you're talking about? Is that the one that you're thinking that he misleads people on? Or that, for example, that ivermectin can be used. And he didn't even say it. He didn't even say it can be used as treatment. He just said he used it. He took it. Mind you, he also took a whole bunch of other stuff at the time too. Like he said, literally threw the kitchen sink at it. Is that what you're upset about? Is the fact that he went through and he didn't get your approved jab to go through and to get better? And it was that he might have done it a different way to you? And God forbid people do that, right? I was talking to someone today with my Man on the Street interview, and I can tell you now, the sentiment amongst most people in Australia, especially where I am, I'm not saying where, but where I am, is that most people regret getting it. Well, there was a girl who was telling me today, she only got it because of her work. If she didn't get it, she was going to get fired. She said to me, after I got it, she said, I felt violated. She says, I went home crying. They made her sign a consent form saying that she consented to get it. And I said, well, she says, but I didn't. She says, I had to sign it. Well, the reason they got him to sign it was so they can't come back with liability. I tell you what, if I had gone in there and someone had turned around and said to me, you consenting this? I would have said, no. And they said, well, if you don't get it, you can't sign it. I'm like, well, I'm not signing it. Because I can tell you now, that consent form, they are going to hold on to that like it is nothing else. But at the end of the day, as you can probably guess, this has gone down well. Like the Hindenburg, FYI, Australian Broadcast is basically Australia's version of the BBC. All he does is sit and have a long-form conversations with people. They are so afraid of free thought and expression. Absolutely, the panic mode because they're no longer getting to dictate and control narratives. We watched you Aussies we watched what you Aussies did during COVID. Sit down. Never forget the Australian government and what the citizens during the COVID pandemic. Like I say, it's really not going well for them, right? This is really sort of come back and really hit hard, and now they're claiming that 81% of Australians believe the BBC, the ABC, and that they must trust. And so after his comments, he's been shocked to have been called an embarrassment to Australia. So this is a radio station in Melbourne. And here's the reason for the 81%. In 2018 to 2019, 81% of Aussies trust the ABC. The ABC is the public broadcaster that offers a variety of programming, including news, current affairs, and documentaries. I can tell you now, that's BS. So here we go again. Trust stats from 2018, 2019. Why haven't they surveyed people since? I have. And I can tell you now, the trust in the media is getting pretty low. It's not as bad as it is in the US. We still have a little way to go yet. But a lot of people I speak to do not trust the mainstream media. Now, obviously, this stat they're talking about here is specifically people's trust in the ABC. And it does have a slightly better rating than the rest of the other mainstream media. But I doubt it's 81%. I'm sorry, I'm calling doubt on that. But yeah, this is the reason why they're claiming this. 81% is now trending in Australia. But yeah, at the end of the day, like I said, this is just here it is here. So this is back in the, and now it's down to around this. And I would say it's probably 60s, probably high. I would say it's probably around the 50s or 40s, just from the people I've spoken to. But guys, yeah, at the end of the day, obviously this is just them trying to do damage control because, like someone said, they can't control the narrative anymore. How dare we sit around and have a thought and open discussion Public backlash. Oh my God, it's so bad. Well, maybe you should stop bringing in stuff or trying to do stuff that causes the public to get offside. Like, for example, bringing in a misinformation and disinformation bill, which, by the way, was terminated because of lack of support. Yes, the government of Australia is so out of touch, they did not realise that a misinformation and disinformation bill would not be popular. Let that sink in. But guys, let us know what your thoughts are in that comment section below. Obviously, at the end of the day, as for the ABC, I trust them about as far as I could throw them. At the end of the day, yeah. But let us know what your thoughts are in that comment section. If the video has been helpful, please smack that like button. If you're new to the channel, welcome and subscribe. Apart from that, guys, there's only one video tonight. I don't think there's any much happening. I might say there's another one I might do. I might do two. But there doesn't seem to be a lot of news today. It is a Thursday. So Thursdays are normally pretty quick. Pretty quiet. But let me know what your thoughts are in that comment. Apart from that, guys, have a great night and enjoy.